watching the background, and I know that if I slightly move myself, I will get a different background. And that's why I asked you people to stand. So now if you just stand in one place and take, I'm going to say 36 photographs, because in the past, or I still use film. So I have only 36 images possible in one roll of film. And film is very expensive, processing it is very difficult. So I have to think quite carefully about what I photograph. If you're all using digital, then you don't have that problem, which can be a great advantage also. It's a great way of freeing yourselves. So now if you stand up and you try to take these from one place, take 36 different pictures. Start now. But they have to be 36 different images from where you're standing. How are you going to do that? So everyone's, where's my phone? I should actually be looking at, yeah. Okay, so that's one possibility, and I see most of you are doing that. But if you come down on your knees and you move your camera, you're going to see something else, right? Then you move to a side. You move to the other side. You lie down flat if you like. So in the same situation, I've already suggested 5 different images to you. But when you're standing, you know, this is one possibility. I see everybody doing that. But equally, you can do that. It's amazing to look at the floor. It's amazing to look at the sky. And it's also good to just be turning around. And when you turn around, again, it's about going up and down. A bit like, अगर आप सोचो जैसे जब फिल्म बनती है, तो कैमरामैन कैसे आपके इर्द गिर्द डांस करता है ना, यहाँ इस एंगल से, फिर वहाँ से, फिर वहाँ से, फिर थोड़ा ऊंचा, फिर नीचे. अगर आप लोग जो अब बैठ गए हैं, थोड़ा खड़े होके थोड़ा सा आप मूवमेंट करिए, तो आप देखेंगे, और तस्वीरें लीजिए, आप देखेंगे कि आपके पिक्चर्स कितनी अलग अलग हो जाती हैं. एक ही जगह से आप इतनी डिफरेंट इमेजेस, आप अगर ऐसा करते रहेंगे तो फिर तो सेम सेम आएंगी ना. थोड़ा मुड़िए, थोड़ा झुकिए, थोड़ा बैठिए, थोड़ा लेटिए, थोड़ा डांस करिए. आप एक जगह पे खड़े होके फ़ोटो लेंगे तो फ़ोटो फिर बहुत बोरिंग होगी, और काफ़ी ज़्यादा बोरिंग पिक्चर्स आती हैं यहाँ आजकल. हाँ, तो अब आपने ये तस्वीरें ली, आपकी हो गई 36 अलग अलग. मैं अभी प्रोजेक्ट करके देखूंगी. They must be completely different, because it's possible. I think one of the problems is that maybe is the difference between, say, me as a professional and you as an amateur, even though I don't think that category really matters now, is I have an idea of where I want to take the image from, and I will move myself and the place to make sure I'm in the right position. Now you've taken all these photographs, and Punita just asked me what makes a good photograph, and that was exactly my point at a very personal level, because what is good, what is bad, what is photography, what is art, what is not, these are all very subjective things. And I've always made my own rules, and I will continue to do that. So for me, the photograph is best when it gives me a hint of something. When I worked as a photojournalist, that was very good training for me, and I'm very grateful for that possibility of having worked as a photojournalist. But at that time, or photojournalism in those days, एक तस्वीर में पूरी कहानी चाहिए थी एडिटर्स को. दयानिता सिंह जयपुर आई हैं, जयपुर लिटरेरी फेस्टिवल में बात कर रही हैं, और आपको पूरी सेटिंग दिखानी पड़ती थी. लेकिन जो फोटोग्राफी, अगर आप थोड़ी इवोकेटिव फोटोग्राफी करना चाहते हैं कि लोग उसमें थोड़ा सा गुम जाएं, थोड़ा सा सोचें, कुछ महसूस करें, तो मुझे लगता है जो आप फ्रेम के बाहर छोड़ते हैं ना, तो वो ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग तस्वीर हो सकती है. तो अगर मुझे आप लोगों की तस्वीर लेनी है, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि मैं पूरी सीन की लूँ. आप लोगों के शायद बैग्स एक जगह पड़े हैं, तो मैं वो बैग्स को ले लूँ, या आप लोगों के अगर किसी और सिचुएशन में जूते होते मैं उनकी तस्वीर ले सकती, या किसी रिफ्लेक्शन की तस्वीर ले सकती। मतलब जो कैमरा के सामने है वो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वही तस्वीर है, पर जो फ़ोटो में आप डालते हैं उसका अगर आप थोड़ा सा देखिए कि मैं पूरी कहानी नहीं बताऊंगी, मैं हिंट करूंगी, तो मुझे that's the kind of photography I like, that alludes to something, that suggests something, but doesn't tell you the whole picture. तो ये रही फोटोग्राफी की बात, which is about in my practice. मेरे काम में फ़ोटो लेना सिर्फ 10% का काम है, और वो अब मैं आंखें बंद करके भी कर सकती हूँ, क्योंकि अब टेक्नोलॉजी भी ऐसी है, और मुझे मालूम है कि इस सिचुएशन में जो इतने लोग मुझे सुन रहे हैं, मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग सिचुएशंस बस यहीं से मिल जाएंगी। तो अभी तो मैनुअल कैमरा है तो मुझे फोकस वगैरह करना पड़ता है, थोड़ा सा गेस भी कर सकते हैं, लेकिन डिजिटल में वो सब प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अगर आप बनारस जैसी जगह में जाएंगे और आप 4 बजे शाम को, जिसको हम लोग कोडाक्रोम लाइट कहते थे, आप अगर अपनी आंखों पे पट्टी लगा के उधर घूमेंगे, मैं आपको चैलेंज करती हूँ कि 1-2 बढ़िया तस्वीरें इम्पॉसिबल है कि आपके पास नहीं निकले, क्योंकि सिचुएशन ही ऐसी है। तो फिर फोटोग्राफर का क्या फ़ायदा हुआ? आप क्या कर रहे हैं फिर? आप तो सिर्फ ऑटोमेटिक भी तो लगा सकते हैं ना, वो गूगल ग्लासेस भी आ गई हैं अब, तो उसमें एक व्हाट्स इट कॉल्ड, like 1 blink will be a photograph and 2 blinks will be a video. So what does that mean then? I think what it means is that the notion of the photographer is going to change very much. And it's about, in my case, I find that it's all about how you edit a work, how you narrativize the work, and then the form that you give it. तो तस्वीरें लेना 10% के काम में आप सब लोग मेरे साथ चल सकते हैं, क्योंकि हम सब वो तस्वीरें ले सकते हैं। इतना आपको थोड़ा सा मैंने बताया ना, लाइट का और बैकग्राउंड का और सोच का, कि मैं इसमें कितनी इंफॉर्मेशन डालूं, कितनी बाहर रख दूं। So that's a good starting point, and you could all come up, we could all in this Jaipur Literary Festival come up with 20, 30, 50 fairly good photographs. And we could make portraits of people, or portraits of trees, or portraits of chairs, or the stalls when nobody is there. You know, it can just, it's endless possibilities here. So what? तो क्या हुआ? सबने तस्वीरें ले ली, तो फिर क्या हुआ? It's not enough. फोटोग्राफी को अब बहुत बदलना पड़ेगा। फोटोग्राफी में हमें एडिटिंग को बहुत फोकस देना पड़ेगा। पहले हम फोटोग्राफर्स होते थे, फोटोग्राफी करते थे, और एडिटर्स होते थे मैगज़ीन के लिए, वो हमारे लिए एडिट करते थे। फोटोग्राफी में एडिटिंग अलग होती थी, लेकिन अब मैं सोचती हूँ फोटोग्राफी तो सब लोग कर लेंगे। इट्स अ बिट लाइक एवरीबडी कैन स्पीक, से लेट्स से हिंदी और इंग्लिश। तो आप जब फ़ोटो लेते हैं, आप कुछ शब्दों को इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं। तो अगर हिंदी में बात कर रहे हैं तो आपने कुछ शब्द सीख लिए, कुछ बहुत सुंदर तरीके से लिखना भी सीख लिया उन शब्दों को। तो क्या हुआ? वो काफ़ी नहीं है। उसमें से आप एक सेंटेंस बना सकते हैं, उस सेंटेंस में से आप एक पोएम बना सकते हैं, एक कहानी लिख सकते हैं। So that's where I see photography now, that the images I take are just like collecting words. But what am I going to do with it? What kind of an edit will I do? How will I narrativize it? उसमें से मैं क्या कहानी बनाऊंगी, क्या पोइट्री बनाऊंगी, या नॉवल लिखना चाहती हूँ। मेरा आइडिया है कि एक दिन मैंने शॉर्ट स्टोरीज़ की एक किताब बनाई थी, हाउस ऑफ लव, वो कहीं आपको दिखाई देगी, कि मैंने देखा था कि ये जो लिटरेरी फेस्टिवल में आते हैं, यहाँ सब लेखक लोगों को इतना सम्मान दिया जाता है, इतना उनको सुना जाता है, क्योंकि वो क्या कर रहे हैं जो फोटोग्राफी नहीं कर रही। क्योंकि हमारी जो बुक्स हैं, एक तो बहुत महंगी होती हैं फोटोग्राफी की, वो सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, और दूसरा है कि हम शायद अगर स्टोरी और नॉवल को अपनाएं एज अ फॉर्म, लिटरेचर को देखें, तो शायद फोटोग्राफी में कुछ और आ जाएगा। मेरा आइडिया है कि मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी में एक नॉवल बना सकूँगी, जैसे विक्रम सेठ ने सूटेबल बॉय बनाई थी और अब सूटेबल गर्ल बना रहे हैं, मैं भी कुछ सूटेबल बना सकती हूँ नॉवल के तरीके में. So that is the idea for me, to push the limits of where I see photography, both in how we are using photography, but also in the form. इसमें पता नहीं आपको कितना दिखाई देगा, मैंने कुछ अब म्यूज़ियम जैसे स्ट्रक्चर्स बनाती हूँ, उसमें तस्वीरें डालती हूँ, क्योंकि मेरा आइडिया है कि ये एडिट बदलती रहनी चाहिए. That it shouldn't be static like in a book. बुक का अपना मज़ा है, प्रिंट का अपना मज़ा है, प्रोजेक्शन का अपना मज़ा है, पर मैंने एक अपना सा एक तरीका ढूंढ लिया है कि मैं कैसे अपनी तस्वीरों को ट्रैवल करवाना चाहती हूँ, बदलना चाहती हूँ. तो वो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम अपना फॉर्म ढूंढें. क्यों हम सिर्फ सोचते हैं कि कैमरा काफ़ी है, शायद काफ़ी है आपके लिए, पर अगर प्रिंट बनाने हैं तो प्रिंट ज़रूरी है, उसका प्रोजेक्शन भी हो सकता है, वो भी बहुत अच्छा है. अगर प्रिंट कर रहे हैं तो अब तो डिजिटल हो गया है, so it doesn't need to be only on paper. शायद आप कपड़ों पे भी प्रिंटिंग कर सकते हैं. तो बहुत सारी पॉसिबिलिटीज़ अब खुल गई हैं फोटोग्राफी के लिए. तो ऐसा मत सोचिए कि आप फोटोग्राफर नहीं हैं, आप सब फोटोग्राफर हैं. फोटोग्राफी के साथ आप क्या करेंगे उससे पता चलेगा. आप फोटोग्राफी में लेखक बन सकते हैं क्या, फोटोग्राफी में आर्टिस्ट बनेंगे क्या, कुछ और करना पड़ेगा फोटोग्राफी के साथ. लेकिन बच्चों के लिए तो मैं कहूँगी कि ख़ास तौर पे लड़कियों के लिए, एंड आई एम सॉरी कि इतना बदला नहीं है, लेकिन लड़कियों के लिए फ़ोटोग्राफी एक बहुत ऑलमोस्ट लाइक अ वेपन हो जाता है. जब मेरे पास कैमरा होता है, अब तो इतनी मुश्किल नहीं है, पर जब मैं बहुत यंग होती थी, इट गेव मी अ ग्रेट सेंस ऑफ पावर, एंड आई फेल्ट कि मेरे से कोई ज़्यादा टकरा नहीं सकता, क्योंकि मेरे पास एक कैमरा है और मैं इसके साथ कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ, कहीं भी जा सकती हूँ. अभी हाउ वी फॉर टाइम? ओके, सो दिस वाज द पार्ट दैट आई वांटेड टू, जो मैं बच्चों को समझाना चाह रही थी कि आप अपनी फ़ोटोग्राफी करिए ज़रूर, लेकिन उसमें से सोचिए फिर आगे क्या करेंगे, उसको कैसे, कौन से तरीके से एडिट करके कैसे दिखाएंगे अगर आपको दिखाना है या आपको अपने लिए एल्बम बनानी है. पर सोचिए कि सिर्फ फोटोग्राफी ठीक है, हमने शब्द इकट्ठे कर लिए, आगे उन शब्दों का क्या करेंगे. तो वो मैं आप बच्चों से कहना चाह रही थी. एंड नाउ फॉर द एडल्ट्स इन द ऑडियंस, it's actually pretty much the same thing that I wanted to say, that to me photography is really about collecting words. And what are you going to do with these words? It's about the editing process, it's about the sequencing, and it's about finally the form that one gives to the work. And that is where your individuality comes in. Don't give me an exhibition with a print, matte, frame, in an edition, and tell me that's it. It's not. That's one form. It's a beautiful form, but that's not all. The book is another form, the projection is another form, but find your own forms. And since you all seem to be working with digital technology, you have far more possibilities than I have. I need a little water and a gap for a second. Oh, there is, sorry. अब अगर बच्चे मुझसे कुछ पूछेंगे तो फिर मेरे लिए बेटर होगा थोड़ा और बात करने के लिए, क्योंकि आई एम नॉट श्योर जो मैंने एक्सरसाइज की थी वो आपको समझ में आई. एक जगह खड़े होके 36 तस्वीरें खींच सकेंगे, और कोई भी तस्वीर लेने के पहले ज़रा सोचेंगे कि लाइट कैसी है, बैकग्राउंड कैसा है, मैं थोड़ा सा इधर हो जाऊं तो फिर क्या होगा, थोड़ा सा झुक जाऊं. पता नहीं आप लोग झुकते नहीं हैं काफ़ी. इसमें रियली समटाइम्स मेरी फ़ोटोग्राफी की एक खासियत जो लोग कहते हैं, वो कहते हैं हमें कैसे मालूम है कि how do we get to know that this is your photograph? It's really very simple. This is just my toy camera. It's a Leica, so it's very it's tongue-in-cheek when I say it's a toy camera, but what I really use is a Hasselblad, and I used it at this level. So I'm always looking down. into my camera, and this is how I work. So I'm working from my belly. But what that means is that I am photographing everything from a child's point of view. So when I made chair pictures, and everybody was great historians would say, oh my God, I've never seen this chair look like that. And the only reason they had never seen that chair look like that was because they had never gone down on their knees and looked at that object. It was always looking from on top. So when I was young, I used to feel very envious of my colleagues who were 1 foot higher than me because they got these incredible vantage points that I could never get unless I stood on the table. But when I started using my Hasselblad, somehow I never wanted to get a viewfinder and use it like that. I kept using it from my belly. One, I liked the support that my belly would give to the Hasselblad. So I would make a tripod out of myself, you know? But also the fact that the view that I was getting is a view that most adults would have forgotten. So immediately you're sort of, you sort of, there's something, it may be your own chair, it may be your own house, but when I show you the photographs, you would say, oh, this looks so different. You know, apart from the fact that it's black and white, which changes everything also, the fact was that I was always shooting from here. And then very often I would take my Hasselblad and I would have it almost at ground level and I would be shooting. And, you know, as long as my knees are good, I would still keep doing that. I find very often because of the digital mode of this kind of shooting that maybe people do a little bit of that, but not enough. So everyone's just shooting at that eye level. And I would just, if there were only children here, I was actually thinking that we would do a dance. We would just take our cameras and you just look. And even while sitting, you can try it. If you just pull your cameras out and you just sort of do a large sweep and you go down and you come up and you move around with the camera. So it also gives you a time to slightly to engage a little bit with what you're photographing, to see what are the different ways in which you can be photographing the same thing, which is your way. Finally, what I'm interested in is not really what you're photographing, but how you're photographing. Are you the author of your work? Or are you trying to take photographs like me or someone else, photos that you have liked of a city or whatever? Are you the author of your work? And that for me becomes a way of deciding whether it's a good photograph or not, actually. Well, the point of view is very much, I feel, influenced by who you are and how much of experience you have gathered in life and what you bring to that work. So everybody has experience, and I suppose if there is one skill left, it's can you bring that experience into the photograph? So maybe that's an interesting way of thinking of what photography is now, because can you really sort of soak in all of that is going on around you and bring that out in the photograph, which is really your point of view. But as I mentioned before, when people ask me, or somewhere I was just saying, you know, should I go to New York to study photography? Should I go to ICP? I say, do a course in literature and then come to photography, because you will have gathered so much life experience. If I had really studied Shakespeare, I think when I did the family portraits, there would be a whole different layer to the work. Vikram Seth is such an important poet for me. All You Who Sleep Tonight, if there was one book that I was to recommend to all of you, it would be All You Who Sleep Tonight. If you look at the photography, if you look at the poems in that book, and you just try to see, to me it's like, can I evoke that in my photography? Is it possible for me to take you into that space, that great interior space that Vikram Seth takes you into in All You Who Sleep Tonight? I look to literature both as in gathering experience in life, but also looking at the different forms. There is a great writer here, Jeff Dyer, and I would urge you to go to every panel that he is on. And Jeff Dyer finds a new style for each book. It's not that every time there is no Jeff Dyer style. In fact, you could say that the Jeff Dyer style is that there is no style. He finds a new form for each subject. So when he's doing a book on Tarkovsky's Stalker, shot by shot, the footnotes are a parallel novel. When he did Jeff in Venice, Death in Varanasi, it was like almost two novels that he took and put together. So if I was running a photo school, I would insist that all the students have to come and attend all the literary festivals to get interested in literature. And if I had a school, I would make sure that I taught literature. Photography is just the language. It's like knowing English or knowing Hindi. But if you don't know what else you can do with it, it depends what you want to do. Some people are happy just speaking a language, but if you want to be a writer, you want to be a poet, then you have to invest much more. And you have to be, I think, hungry and curious and just want to absorb everything that you can in life. I rarely say no to an opportunity, and when we worked as a photojournalist, that was the great thing, because you were continuously being thrown into new situations, and I think I learned a lot from that experience. But mainly, I think I can now close it by saying that okay. On that? It's going on. It's about being the author. तस्वीरें आप लीजिए, खूब लीजिए. ज़रा सोचिए मैं क्यों ये तस्वीर ले रही हूँ और कैसे मैं इसको थोड़ा अपना बना सकती हूँ. आई थिंक फोटोग्राफी में एक कार्टियर-ब्रेसॉन आए थे, बहुत ही बढ़िया फोटोग्राफर, बहुत खास, लेकिन कुछ एक दो जनरेशन फिर कार्टियर-ब्रेसॉन के इन्फ्लुएंस, फिर रघु राय, वो भी बहुत ही बेहतरीन फोटोग्राफर हैं, लेकिन अब सब लोग सोचते हैं कि मुझे फ़ोटो लेनी है, अच्छी फ़ोटो होगी अगर रघु राय जैसे लगेगी. नहीं, हमें और रघु राय नहीं चाहिए. आपकी आवाज़ ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. How can you be the author of your own work? So if there is something for photographers to do now, it is really to distill the experience of one's everything and bring it into the photography, into that image, and see if you can evoke what a Vikram Seth can do in All You Who Sleep Tonight. Yeah, so now maybe if we have some questions. And on that little monitor, all my books are being displayed. I think some of them, no, most of them are out of print. There are one or two in the bookshop. But for me, the form that has really taken shape is the book. And now I'm tomorrow going to launch the File Room book, but with a secret structure that I have made for that book. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise now, but if you come there, you'll see how finally, after all these years, after 30 years of saying the book is my form, I've really found a way to now say, I'm not going to make prints. My work will be the book. And you know, if that's what you can show, that's great. I have different ways I would show my book, but I'm not going to be making print shows anymore. So now, having thrown in that last, for those of you who are still listening, the last challenge, let's have some questions.
हेलो मैम. मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि फोटो जर्नलिज्म आपके लिए कितना टफ रहा, बीइंग अ वुमेन.
हाँ जी,
आपके लिए फोटो जर्नलिज्म कितना टफ रहा, बीइंग अ वुमेन, क्योंकि मैं भी फोटोग्राफी करती हूँ, वाइल्ड लाइफ करती हूँ, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं.
हाँ.
तो आपके लिए कैसा स्ट्रगल रहा पूरे टाइम?
कोई स्ट्रगल नहीं था, बिल्कुल कोई स्ट्रगल नहीं था, सच्ची. और मैं थोड़ी नाराज़ हो जाती हूँ जब लोग मुझसे ये पूछते हैं, क्योंकि मुझे ये वुमन फोटोग्राफर ये सब बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है. और जब मैंने फोटो जर्नलिज्म शुरू किया था, सब मेरे कॉलीग सब आदमी थे. मुझे I never went into the thing of I'm a woman, I can't do this. And, you know, of course there were some colleagues who would be patronizing, and but it didn't matter. And I think it was what I wanted to do with the medium. I knew from the beginning that the book was really important to me. Those things were more important than being a woman. The only thing I regretted was, and I say this to a lot of young boys, and nobody has taken me up on this, that if you really want to do photography and you want to understand life, make friends with a truck driver and drive around the country for a year. You don't need to go to New York. You just need to travel. You need to move. You need to fill yourself with lots of experiences. और वो फोटो जर्नलिज्म ने मुझे बहुत दिया, क्योंकि अभी पता चलता था, प्रशांत कहते थे वहाँ जाके ये तस्वीर लेनी है, खुद अपनी टिकट बुक करो, उधर जाओ, तस्वीर लो, वापस आओ. So you just learn to look after yourself. But you have to be a little careful also, you know, what you want to push yourself into. But by and large, not by and large, definitely, I never ever saw being a woman as any kind of weakness or problem for me. Never, never, never as a woman. Problems possibly because of my personality, but not because of being a woman.
Who would you like to take first?
Yeah, actually 10 minutes of questions only from the children, please.
Sorry. Like this question was important to me, but I needed the answer to be a little bit brief in English. So
In
that-
English?
Yes, please.
No problem being a woman. I'm very happy to be a woman, but I don't really photograph with my genitals.
Yes, but actually, being a woman, we have certain things in our. I mean, woman finally is a part of me. Woman finally is part of me, so it's reflected in my work. It's not like distinction being a woman, but it's
Yeah.
still part of me.
Exactly, but it's fine to keep it as that. I don't like to make a big deal about being a woman. I think it's a certain sensibility that you bring to the work. There are some of my male colleagues who have what we would call a very feminine sensibility. And I think sometimes I can have a very masculine sensibility also. So it's just, I mean, we all have masculine and feminine in us, no? So in myself, in some works, I could say I was more feminine, and in other works, I was more masculine. And sometimes when I have to fill a form, I just write third sex.
Okay. So may I ask one more question about the blueprints? You have introduced one of your projects in that blue. I would like to know more about this. This is a very distinctive project.
The blue?
Yes.
Actually, the blue was a wonderful accident, and we didn't talk about accidents so far. So thank you for bringing that up. And this is the great answer for me for the people who want to know about digital and analog. Because I feel that in digital you can see, no? That is the problem for me with digital. You can immediately see. So if you're getting a blue cast on something, you'll say, oh, I need to change my color temperature, I need to put it on automatic. Automatic, I don't think you'll even get a cast. I don't know how digital works. But what happened was, I was at a factory very, very high up with braces and 4 men holding the ropes, and the tower was shaking, and I was taking this picture of the factory complex from on top. Sun was setting, and I was taking these beautiful black and white pictures. And then at a certain point after sunset, I ran out of film. And I knew that if I went down those steps, I would never have the courage to come up again, because it was so scary. So what I did was, I had some color film in my bag, which, because I was doing an assignment there as well, I had the color film. I shot the color film and thought, okay, I know it's not the best thing, but I can always make black and white prints out of these. So I continued shooting, shot, sent the film for processing. The contact sheets came back all blue. So I was amazed, and I thought, this is it. I was always waiting to find to find my own language with color, to find a way of my own with color. I find it difficult to work in color because color is just so obvious. And if I want to do things which is about evoking a certain emotion, a certain mood, a certain ambiguity, color gets in the way. But Blue Book was a complete accident, and then I realized I was shooting daylight film after sunset. I should have been using tungsten film. But that
So it
made
was an
me
accident.
realize this is the way. So then I knew I want to photograph after sunset, I want to use daylight film, and I'll get those blue pictures. And that then led to Dream Villa. So it was just, I guess one could just put it down to being open to say, oh, that's interesting, instead of saying, oh my God, it's terrible. And it's the same thing with also being a woman. I know what you're saying, and I'm slightly defensive about answering that. But I could either sort of say, oh my God, I'm a woman, I can't do this, I can't do that. Or I could say, I'm going to do this, regardless of what I am. But maybe we can come back to this a little later, and I'd love the children to ask some questions. I will, for sure. And I'll look at your pictures also.
Can we take the same picture using a cyber shot than you would have taken using a DSLR, since it depends on the photographer, the picture
I
taken?
think the time that I will, the time I'm waiting for in digital is when the mobile camera is good enough for everything. And I think you can certainly take a very beautiful picture or a wonderful photograph with your digital camera, your DSLR, or your little cyber shot, or your phone. You know, what's the worst thing that'll happen with your phone picture? That you can't make it very big. We don't have to have big pictures because everyone's not making prints. You're anyway showing it on, I don't know, on Facebook or that kind of thing, no? So you don't need to have really the big cameras for that. You need to have a very alert mind, and you need to be thinking why you're doing something, how else you could do it, and you need to experiment a lot. But most of all, to read a lot. I promise you, I think literature and reading makes a very big difference for me. For someone else, it could be music, it could be cinema, it could be physics, I don't know. But for me, literature is the key. What I'm reading at the time really informs how I'm going to work. What do you use?
I use literature. The camera, you mean? Sorry, I use cyber shot, the regular
No, I
cyber
think it's a
shot.
better answer to say I use literature. Great one. Actually, no, can we just, no, first I want to ask the children.
So that was going to be my question to you. I don't use a digital camera. I
Are
don't
you
use
children?
No, but still, I don't use a professional camera. I have just an 8MP phone. But it's not necessary to have a good camera to be a good photographer,
Not
right?
at all. It's necessary to have a really good camera if you want to make prints, if you want to, finally, of course, you need a good camera because you want to decide the focus, the aperture, you want to work on it in Photoshop and all of that. But I'm not a digital photographer, digital camera person at all. So I'm not, possibly Dinesh sitting here can answer that question much better. To make a good photograph.
As long as you're able to have your own point of view and how you see, to my mind, that's what makes a good photographer. The camera is a recording device. The analogy I would give is if you're a singer, as long as you can sing well, if you want to share it, then the recording device matters, but it does not
Excellent.
make you a better or a worse singer.
That was very good. Did you all get that? Okay.
Ma'am, any tips on how to photograph people? I usually find it
Baba,
hard.
read. Just read. Read, really. I cannot
Yes,
stress
ma'am.
that enough. I told you the little tips. No, I told you about light. There's probably beautiful light on my face right now, no? Coming through there. So, but then you have to check out the background, right? And you have to check out the angle. If you photograph me from there, you're going to make me look even more of a monster than I am. So it's very nice to photograph people at the same level. I think it's very rude. I hate when photographers come to photograph me with their motor drive cameras and then they go down like that. They're shooting up my nostrils and tuck, 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 tuck. It's like shooting, no? It's really like, so I took one of them, I caught him by the collar and I put him in the corner and I said, give me your camera. And I did that to him. No eye contact, no hello, no may I, but just bang, 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 bang. So that's not the way to photograph a person. Little eye contact is nice, a little smile is nice. And then to, have the right settings for the light and the background. But most of all to read. Literature tells you so much about people, about relationships, about life. And if you can somehow bring that, maybe at the age of 70 I could say, okay, I've experienced so much now that maybe I don't need to read. I don't know. I don't think that will ever happen. But it's about enriching yourself. Like you have to have food, no, to survive. I think to really, really do, certainly photography well, you need to read.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My question to you is that how to be a versatile photographer?
I think if you look at the Jeff Dyer example that I gave, that for each situation, don't get stuck in a formula ever. There shouldn't be one way of photographing everything. So you have to see the subject, what is the mood you're trying to make, and then take the photograph according to that. And that makes you a versatile photographer. So you're not stuck with one way of photographing. Depending on the situation, you find a different way of photographing and a different way of using that image. So there's the making of the image, but the versatility is also in the form that you give to it. If you put it on Facebook versus when you make a poster out of it, when you make a hoarding out of it, or you make a print, or you project it, lots of different ways, no?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
I follow Sir Abbas. Yeah, I follow Sir Abbas. He goes for black and white, and Sir Steve McCurry goes for color. But I saw your work, and you do color and black and white both, and for photojournalism. So what's the reason behind that? Or how do you justify using color and black and white and expressing yourself through them?
Justify to whom?
Not justify, but
it's the same
maybe
thing.
What's the reason? What's
The
the
same
reason
Jeff
for-
Dyer example I gave.
Hmm.
Like in a certain situation, I feel that black and white is going to help me do what I need to do there, what I want to evoke. In another situation, color is going to work fantastically. Largely, I find color works for me only when the color goes off, like in Blue Book and Dream Villa. In this situation, in daylight, I would never use color. So it's a personal decision that you make on what is going to help you achieve what you're trying to do. Yeah? Do you have a question? Yeah. I can't hear you at the back.
There's a question here.
Okay.
Ma'am, I think what do you think is the relevance of these new trends of selfies coming in the photography scene, because it is increasing the obsession of people with themselves and making people more narcissistic. So what do you think is the relevance of clicking your own pictures?
I'm very happy that selfies are there so people don't stop me on the road and say, can you take my picture? So just do it yourself, keep doing it till you're tired of it. What can I say?
One second.
No, I don't take selfies in the obvious way, but I could actually say that a lot of what I photograph is like a selfie. So I think when I'm photographing a chair, I'm also doing a selfie.
Great. Well, many welcomes to this great international Jaipur Literature Festival, forgive me. My question to you, this, ma'am, is this: that when we talk about the intensity, sometimes the intensity of the moment is so high. At that time, how do you make that balance between photographing? How do you photograph the intensity of a situation?
I think you can photograph just by whatever is going on inside you. The skill perhaps is in being able to, it's not even a skill. Actually, I can tell you exactly what it is. What happens is you're moved by something and you want to take that photograph. But suddenly your head gets flooded with all the good photographs you've seen. You know, do you want to be a Raghu Rai? Do you want to be a Dinesh Khanna? Do you want to be a Prashant Panjar? Huh?
And the emotion, you know, like the invocation of the emotion when you're photographing an intense moment. That time, how do you keep that shadow that, yes, I need a good photograph?
I'm answering exactly that.
Right.
So you have to somehow get to a point where you don't allow those images to crowd your mind. For example, when I was working with color initially, you know, you couldn't photograph without thinking of Raghuveer Singh. Both Raghuveer Singh and Raghu Rai have done incredible color photography in India. I could have done like that, or I could have said, no, I'm going to wait and find my own way with color, and then I'll come to color. I think it's about saying, I want to do it. If you were to somehow be able to delete all the other good images in your mind, I think what you're feeling or the intensity going on inside you will translate into the work. What gets in the way is the idea of the good photograph, the trying to be like another photographer.
I have a question regarding how production's happening these days, like post-production, especially in the digital world. At what point for you do you think a photograph is no longer a photograph? Because today with Photoshop and, you know, the endless opportunity that you have to print on any sort of medium, you know, suddenly photography becomes a part of mixed media. Like you publish books, like I might want to print on fabric and make dresses out of it, you know. So when do you know that you're no longer a photographer and now you're doing something else? Or do you not know, or you just do it and keep going with it?
Well, first of all, I think I should explain, I'm not a digital photographer at all. I scan my negatives and then I make the prints. There's a minimal amount of manipulation that I do. I try to do that keeping in mind if I was in the dark room, you know, and I might increase the contrast, I might burn somewhere, might dodge somewhere. And that's about it as far as I'm concerned. I think your question is again better addressed to a more digital photographer. Yeah, if I understood it right. Yeah, Dinesh Khanna right here. All digital questions, please address to Dinesh Khanna. White beard, big smile, smiling eyes.
No, I'll just, I think, repeat what you said earlier, that, you know, who do you want to justify it to? It's, at what point do you say that it stops being a photograph and becomes something else? What I think Dayaniti's been talking about all along is that you use photography as a medium for your own expression and how you engage with your subject. Now, how you record that and then how you, in turn, physically express it is really up to you. And how does it matter if it stops being a photograph after a point and becomes a painting? Does that answer the question? Or confuse it further?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask, like, in photography, is there anything right or wrong? I mean, with all these rules, rule of third, golden section rules, so is breaking rules a good habit?
I don't know the rules actually, so I can't tell you about breaking them. I've never followed rules, but the other R is the most important thing in whatever you do, but certainly in photography. And it's something I miss very much in photography, is rigor. You do something, you get after it, you know, you chew it till your gums bleed. You don't sort of do this sort of halfway thing. It's about rigor. I don't care about the rules, whether you break them or you don't break them, but put rigor there in whatever you're going to do. You want to break the rules, then study the rules and then be really rigorous about it. Rigor is something I think we need to talk about a lot more, especially at a time when photography becomes so accessible and so easy. So where's the rigor? To me, the rigor is in the thought. The rigor is what you bring to the work.
Ma'am, another question I want to ask, like when you started out with photography with those film cameras, because the resolution was really low, so how difficult was it for printing back then when you started up?
What resolution was low?
I mean, like with cameras that were made long back, whether like quality-wise low.
Digital can't
No.
match the quality that a 8x10 camera could give you. I think that was before your time, so that's why you don't know.
Did you want to add something?
Analog, no? So film was something else. Film is something else. The quality that you get on film now maybe is equal to what you can get on a medium format camera. Is the resolution now as good as I would
yes,
get
the
on my
high-end
Tri-X?
DSLRs, or if you're using a digital back, which is a larger format, you're certainly supposed to get as good quality as you get with film.
But that's also
So you're probably asking a question about when the digital thing started. The analog is still better, is what Dayanita is saying, and I agree with her. So it's always been very good. Actually, the camera she's holding is a 35 mm. Film actually can go up to an 8 inches by 10 inches negative or a transparency. So the kind of information that gets from light being printed directly onto that is phenomenal.
I think this is going to be our last. So one last question.
Hi, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you, hello, this side. You, in some context, said that we don't take a picture, we make a picture. And when you're clicking the photograph of a chair, how do you make it a photograph? How do you make it a photograph? You're just taking a photograph of a chair. And how does your psychology or the mentality change the final result? Matlab, you know?
I don't know about that comment. Huh? I don't know if I made it or I don't know. I don't remember that. But I think whether you make or you take, though that's just a play of words, it's really what you bring to that photograph. And you can photograph a chair like a chair, or you can say, what is this chair evoking in me? It evokes a certain grandfather quality. And I'm then working with that. Or it reminds me of a description, going back to Vikram Seth, of a chair in Equal Music. There's all that coming into it. There's my connection with that kind of chair, the memories that it might have from other places, other books, other films. You bring all that to the work. If you allow it, it's conveyed if you just allow all that to come through without thinking of making a good photograph. I think the problem in photography is when you say, oh yeah, I like this, but I have to make a good photo out of this. And that's where you get stuck, because you're trying to be like somebody else. That was Raghu Rai's way of taking a picture. It's not your way. So you can only get up to a point if you try to be like Raghu Rai. You have to find your own voice. So I'm starting a mentorship program next week, I think. And I'm going to call it Finding Your Own Voice, because I think that's what it's about. And all the things that you could use to find your own voice. Yeah?
Okay, thank you so much, Dayanita. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for all the tips and